Hello everyone, I'm Jay with AV News. We're here at the 송도컨벤시아 for the 5th annual K-UAM Confex. I'm here joined for an interview with the CEO of Sora Aviation, Furqan.
Hi Jay,
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
I got that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, what does your company do? And tell me a little bit about yourself as well.
Yeah, my background is in engineering. I was the technical authority for electric aircraft at GCAN, where I led most of the eVTOL research. Sora Aviation's different view on eVTOLs is that much higher passenger capacities are needed to reduce the cost per passenger. So we're developing a bus-sized eVTOL up to 30 passengers instead of the 4 or 5 seat air taxis you see out there.
Cool. I mean, I've worked at some UAM exhibitions. I've sat in these before, and I thought everyone was developing 4 to 5 seaters, but you see a different market, a different potential, and developing big, basically UAM like Airbuses, right?
Yeah, exactly. Believe it or not, from the 1960s to the 80s, 30-seat helicopters were really popular at carrying people from city centers to airports.
Really?
That happened in LA and New York and London and lots of places.
Okay.
And those services ultimately ended because of safety issues and the oil crisis. But they set the precedent for flying very short trips, carrying a lot of people on large rotorcraft at very affordable costs.
Okay.
Adjusted for inflation, those ticket prices were somewhere around $50.
Wow, this is like a whole different niche within the upcoming industry that is approaching right now. Is this what you're a keynote speaker here as well? Is this what you will be talking about?
Exactly.
Okay.
Affordability is the biggest barrier to the adoption of eVTOLs, and that's going to be the theme of my talk, how you deliver equitable access to advanced air mobility, because without that, really, it ends up being a luxury for VIPs and high net worth individuals, and our goal is to make it accessible to everyone.
So usually as a general citizen kind of understanding this whole industry from the outside, it's my impression that new technology usually starts out with the high wealth individuals and it kind of trickles down as time passes, but you want to kind of go over that obstacle from the start and make it more affordable, more cost effective from the beginning of the implementation of UAMs, right?
Yeah, kind of. Really, the entire UAM market is highly price elastic. A huge market is forecasted because significant ticket price reductions compared to helicopters are forecasted.
Right.
Helicopters can do all of those trips today. The reason you and I don't fly around everywhere on a helicopter is we can't afford it.
Price,
really.
right.
And bringing that ticket price down is critical to both the early adoption but also the scaling of UAM. So that's how we see it happening.
Okay.
Now, the smaller aircraft are necessary to prove the operational concepts, prove the technologies. So, we wish those companies a lot of success.
Of course.
Because our success partly relies on their early success as well.
And competition also breeds innovation. A lot of people working to the same goal only will speed up the process of all of this being implemented as well. And you can learn from each other too, right?
Exactly.
So many players within the industry. I noticed that at this conference, how many different organizations, how many different companies, how many different experts are bringing this industry to the forefront right now. What are your impressions of this exhibition?
I think it's a really impressive event. The international attendance is just really impressive.
Yeah.
The content is really well informed and it's really well organized. I think the team behind it deserve a lot of credit, really.
Wonderful. As you mentioned, international, there's a lot of major players here. Let's talk domestic for a little bit since we're in Korea. What are some strengths you see from Korean UAM companies?
Yeah, I think Korea has 3 distinct strengths. Battery and electrification from the EV giants here, telecommunications, and it actually has a really robust aerospace industry. I think being able to combine those 3 strengths is how Korean companies could get ahead. Okay,
and then going international, moving out of the domestic, or you can answer this from a Korean point of view as well. What do you see is needed in this industry? I hear so many different opinions depending on where the experts are talking from. From your point of view, what is needed from either companies in the UAM industry or the UAM industry as a whole?
I think it's higher risk appetites and continued investment. We're talking about bringing in a whole new mode of transportation that requires breaking convention, thinking differently, and really being confident in going against the grain.
Okay.
I think over-conservatism can risk slowing and stalling the industry down at its critical point.
So social acceptance, what we're talking about here, how do you think, I've been told by people developing smaller UAM technologies, because I've sat in these too, and for me, watching from the outside first, the first time I ever saw one, I was like, whoa, what was that? I was really excited. All I wanted to just go sit in one, right? But getting people from sitting in one to actually using one is different, but you're talking about larger capacity ones. So when you're talking about bridging that gap, how do you think people can socially accept these as fast as possible. What do you think are the keys for this?
Yeah, again, I think it goes back to affordability. If you
Okay.
can't afford to fly on one, you're not going to accept one flying over your city and you know, kind of being a nuisance to you while some rich guy flies over your head.
Okay.
If you can be part of that transportation system, if it actually benefits you, saves you time, gives you time back to spend with your friends and family doing the things you love, you're more likely to accept it. But again, it all comes back to what the ticket price is. And
I love this point of view. You're one of the first ones to touch on this because other people, and they're right as well, social acceptance comes to demo flights. And sure, if I'm at some event and they give me a demo flight, I'm going to do it. But people might be a little scared of it, but they see other people and it becomes more acceptable. But in the end, after they do that one demo flight, if they can't do it going forward, and it's just, as you said, extremely rich people flying overhead, then it's not going to be brought to market for everyone that could use it for the most benefit, right?
Exactly.
What do you see some trends going on right now, or some major issues? What's going on now, and what do you think is going to happen or trend next year within this industry?
I think we're starting to see a bit more consolidation in the industry, more flight test progress, certification requirements converging, and I think trends, we have to really just focus on building more aircraft and building vertiports, getting to the first type certified aircraft flying commercial routes.
Wonderful. These points of view, knowing that, I mean, yes, safety, that's paramount, right? Safety, but now you're talking about cost, affordability, the most people that can travel at one time using these. The difference between this and a helicopter, when I first saw this too, I just thought it was a big like flying drone, for example, or why not just fly a helicopter? But from your point of view, with your expertise, talking about how this can actually be implemented, what needs to happen now, I think is really exciting, especially as a keynote speaker that people are going to hear from you. Is your keynote tomorrow?
It is, yeah, it is.
I hope it goes well. Thank you so much for joining us for an interview today. Really
Yeah,
appreciate it. Thank you, Furqan.
Thank you.